Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cars, Guns, and Guitars, our podcast that we talk about. If you're new, we talk about cars, maybe some motorcycles, stuff that relates to that, maybe eventually planes, guns, knives, maybe military weaponry. Impressive stuff like the tow missiles, possibly to come in later episodes, and music. Possibly musical instruments, but for the most part, we talk about songs. Today we're joined by a guest, a Russian operator, Ivan the Skeletal. And he should be in the frame, right?
He
I would
is.
hope so.
The
So Ivan, can you tell us about our topics that we talked about? He's not very talkative right now. Today we're talking about the Nissan Z, the 2023 model coming in spring of next year, 2022. We're talking about the Smith and Wesson M&P-12, which my opinion has changed vastly in the last week. And we're talking about two songs that are more two parts of one song. Tool's Wings for Marie and 10,000 Days, labeled as Wings Part 2.
yeah, it's really the two songs are kind of really just one song. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a bonus, we have a little bit of an event that happened in the last few days. We'll talk about that in the gun segment.
yeah, we'll do that as a kind of a bonus segment. So
Anyway, on to the gun of the day. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the gun of the day segment. Today, we're going to be doing some operating things with the tow Karev here. Is that Ivan? Ivan. Hey, buddy. Haven't seen you in a while. Is that AKM you got there? Here, you don't need these. These are fine. We'll give these to him. You don't have ears. Wow. This is quite the cool little piece you got here, Ivan. Mind if we shoot it?
today we're out here on the range with the Palmetto State AK-47.
AKM.
AKM. This is just going to be some first shots with the nice redwood furniture. Really haven't had a lot of experience with this rifle yet, but the Palmetto State AKM got a P-mag.
Of all the weapons in the vast Soviet arsenal, nothing was more profitable than Automat Kalashnikova model of 1947, more commonly known as the AK-47, or Kalashnikov. It's the world's most popular assault rifle, a weapon all fighters love. An elegantly simple 9-pound amalgamation of forged steel and plywood. It doesn't break, jam, or overheat. It will shoot whether it's covered in mud or filled with sand. It's so easy a child could use it. And they do.
So yeah, the car of the day today is the long anticipated new Nissan Z Car. Some thought it was going to be called the 400Z, but it's just going to be called the Z, and it really mirrors the Z Proto that we saw about 6 months or so ago. So it's really it's just everything we kind of thought it would already be. But we'll go over the details of that.
Firstly, good-looking car.
Yeah.
It doesn't have those weird futuristic bells and hooks that some of the new cars have, which I'm personally not the biggest fan of. I don't know about my dad here.
Yeah, so it really rolls in, you know, the new trend for sports cars is to make them look retro. But it really kind of rolled in a retro look and really was able to preserve the modern take on it too. It is in fact on the same platform as the outgoing 370Z. So, it's going to share a lot of underpinning from that. So, but yeah. So, what do you think of the way it looks?
I think it's a really good looking car. I think the fact that it doesn't look as futuristic as new cars today is possibly my favorite part of it. I'm getting the thing that 80s car guys probably got with 90s cars being more rounded. I think they just look weird. The headlight fixtures that is just literally a line of LEDs in a straight line, or a curved line that provides all of the light that you would get from high beams and low beams. That to me just seems really weird looking.
Well, for you, the 90s cars are like the 70s cars for me.
Yeah.
That's like when I think of classic Japanese cars, I think of the 70s. So that's where the Z harkens back to, the original Z. But they've really kind of it's been improved vastly. I mean, we're getting the VR30 DDTT from the Red Sport Infinity lineup, which is going to make 400 horsepower, probably be good for somewhere around 4.5 seconds 0 to 60. So it's going to be a screamer. I mean, it's gonna put it right there, right at about the same time that the Supra and the other cars in that segment are. So,
was it naturally aspirated, or was it It can't be. A 3-liter cannot be naturally aspirated.
No,
so 400 horsepower.
This new one is twin turbo.
Twin turbo.
It's called the baby GTR motor. So they've basically taken kind of the same technology that's in the GTR motor, and just kind of shrunk it down. Infinity's been using this engine now, I think, since probably maybe 2016. I don't know. 2014. Sorry. So yeah, but this really goes a step further than Toyota. We seen Toyota a few years ago come out with the Supra. Well, everybody knows that the Supra isn't a Toyota.
It's more BMW than a Toyota.
Yeah, that's been...
We did see that in the video that we watched for research for this. So
yeah, so there's been a ton of criticism.
I forgot about.
Ton of criticism because Toyota brings this thing out, and it's not really a Toyota. They co-developed it with BMW, and
was it the body design, or was it just the engine that was mostly BMW?
It's pretty much the whole platform. Now, the suspension tuning is unique to the Supra.
So it's basically a German-Japanese car.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's a way for them to keep costs down. Developing a whole platform is very expensive.
I imagine it is.
So, and Nissan was only able to do this because, they're really rolling on the old 370Z platform already. They're just, the interior's been greatly upgraded. The engine is way, way better. So, and it's going to feature, drum roll please, a 6-speed manual. So all the 6-speed manual people are really going to get what they want.
I think manuals are two sides of the same coin. On one side, manuals they're a classic thing that a lot of car guys should like, but I think that people shouldn't really be too disappointed when new cars don't have them, because it is falling out of style.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of the newer cars, a lot of people like the manual because it's more engaging. But I don't think you're ever going to...
But that's also true of dual clutch transmissions and automatics with manual mode. I really do think it's just the technicality of it, the pushing in on the clutch and then shifting, rev matching and then letting go of the clutch.
Well, I think a lot of people have trouble letting that go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something they've always done. They feel like they're more connected with the automobile. We'll move past that. I think that's just something. It's a transition.
Yeah.
But they've greatly upgraded the car. We'll throw in some shots from the interior, and you're getting a 12.3-inch instrument cluster, and the price. The price they're saying is going to be 40-ish. I'm going to go out and say so we got 3 trim levels. We have the Sport, the Performance, and they're having like a proto release that they're going to make 240 of. Kind of, again, hearkening back to the original 240.
240 SX.
So,
240 engine.
They're basically, you get 3 trims. You get the Sport and the Performance. So the Sport's just kind of really get you in the door. You're going to get the 400 horsepower, I think. Then there's been no confirming that, but I think both trims will probably have the same motor. But there's a lot you're not going to get with the Sport trim. So with the Performance trim over the Sport trim, you're going to get it looks like a different exhaust, different suspension, upgraded clutch, limited slip differential, raised wheels. You're going to get different tires, larger brakes, heated seats, power seats, synthetic suede inserts, home link. There's going to be a bunch of stuff. So basically, the Sport is going to be just a vehicle that kind of gets you in the door. You're going to be driving it, but I think you're going to be leaving a lot of the cool stuff.
Yeah. We talked about this watching our research material for the Z. We talked about how the Corvette, it's a cool car. 60,000 for the base model, but what you really want is going to be, if you're going for affordable, base model with the Z51 package.
Yeah. So $6,000. That's the Corvette you want. But anyway, back to the Z. So I think they're trying to keep it around 40. I'm going to say 43. That's my prediction for the base price, and I'm going to call it right now. Probably about 48 or 49,000 for the Performance trim, and I think to get the Performance trim with everything you want, mid to low 50s. So I think it's still going to come in under the Supra, but I think
Corvette as well.
I think you'll be able to sneak it up into Supra price. If you start checking a lot of boxes. So,
but still, I mean, if you can't afford the new Corvette by, almost $20,000, it looks like a good car.
Yeah. So I mean, mid to low 40s, maybe 40 to get you in the door. So it's definitely exciting time for Nissan fans, finally getting that turbo motor back that we really, really treasured in the early 90s.
And I think the V6 is my second favorite kind of engine. So I really enjoy these Z's because of that. 4 cylinders, whatever, they can be good. But V6s, you're getting into that. It can be pretty sporty.
Well, you start to get that classic Japanese supercar sound, like the NSX, and if you go back to VR4 3000 GT from when I was younger, and of course the original 300 ZX, that was a killer combo. There
was a video on Demolition Ranch where they blew up a 300 ZX with a bunch of tannerite when one of his military buddies died in a
well, hopefully it was crash. One of the 2+2s, because those were a terrible vehicle.
It was a parts car.
Yeah.
There were two 300s, and the one they blew up was the parts car that they used to transfer to the main one.
All right, so I'm really excited. I don't know about you, but
I do think that V6 sports cars I think they're really cool. I've never really been the biggest fan of the 4-banger, but the 6-bangers are...
No, the 4-cylinder to me is kind of the budget sports car, because you really never
to get a really good 4-cylinder. You're spending more on that, probably,
right, but you don't get the sound, and the
V6s have some impressive sound. There was a little while that my stepdad had a Ford Fusion, and that was a good sounding engine in that car.
But I think you get, the higher revving usually in the 6-cylinders, and they just sound a lot better. The 4-cylinders just sound, they're real muddy and thumpy. And
I mean, I own one.
Yeah.
I drive one every day.
I've owned lots of them, but a car like this, I think those engines sound absolutely fantastic. Tons of tuning ability, too. The Infinities, they're seeing lots of power being uncovered in the tunes. So from the start, we're going to see lots of horsepower, 400-500 horsepower without even cracking anything open, I think. So
without having to change really any internal parts.
Right, yeah. Just a tune,
A tune or even a higher tuned turbo without having to change out bottom end parts for higher strength. Because you got to think those engines are made to. We've talked about this as well. They're made so that you can floor it from, stoplights every single time. They're made to outlast what you can usually do with it, unless you downshift it.
Yeah. All right, so that's going to bring us on into the gun.
Well, not yet, actually. So honorable mentions. The last episode, there was some stuff we didn't put in. Two of my favorite videos from your channel are the 2004 Red GTO burnout video.
That was a classic.
You can probably see the quality in that video is...
That video is 15 years old.
That video is 15 years old. That is insane. Crazy. And then the more recent twin turbo LSX, I believe it was just a poll of you looking at the speedometer.
Yeah, I don't have that car
really
anymore.
Cool. It was fun.
It was fun.
I was going to talk about... We didn't really talk about this, but dual clutch transmissions.
Yeah, dual clutch transmissions. They're a lot of fun.
Even crappy dual clutch transmissions that they put into the Ford Fiesta. There's some things you got to know about them, like when you wait at stoplights, so you really generally want to let the car in front of you get far enough ahead where you can let that clutch disengage when you bring it over to the gas. Because it's not like on a regular manual where you can, oh, this guy's stopping, I can press the clutch back in and not have too much of a problem. The car's ECU does that. Downshifting on the acceleration to pick an earlier gear and get more torque can take a little bit more time on a dual clutch. Just because it's selecting the next gear, not the previous gear. And if you're shifting up when you're slowing down, that can also be an issue. But those are really, you have to learn how they work.
I know the Volkswagen we had, when you would come to a stop and then you would let off the brake to start again, sometimes it would actually feel like it was going to stall. Because it would kind of... It was a really weird feeling.
When you let off the brake and let it idle forward, sometimes the clutch just immediately engages. What you want to do in dual clutch is you want to make sure you push on the gas a little bit to get it going. Because there'll be times where I'll start to go forward and then... oh. So... They take a little bit of learning, but once you learn them, they're actually pretty fun. We're going to be moving on to the gun segment here in a bit. Some audio comedy for you guys for the in-between segment. From the same country that bought us Bakelite AK furniture comes Bakelite beer. Made with water from the Volga River, filtered through a towel found in an abandoned building, boiled in an old army helmet, and stirred with an AKM cleaning rod. Forget about hops. Bakelite uses a proprietary brew of Russian thistle, giant hogweed, and grains from the red forest for that ginger, Bakelite color. Bakelite consists of an abrupt bite with a harsh finish that will make you want to slam a few back and shoot an AK into the dirt. Adopt the Russian pastime of dumb drunk shit with guns. Drink responsibly, don't actually be a dumb fuck and be drunk with a gun. Or at least do it with vodka. Bakelite is not responsible for 7.62 bullet holes in your walls. Alright, on to the gun segment, and always on the gun segment we talk about our carry pieces. Mine, or I guess the only ones we have right now on camera, the Smith and Wesson M&P shield and Bodyguard 380 on the ankle. So we shot an AK.
Yes.
You can see in the in that gun segment, Ivan wasn't really doing too much with it, so we decided to we decided to take it off of his hands and shoot it ourselves.
Yeah, he's not really.
He's very camera shy.
Yeah, he's not really, he's not really very mobile these days.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, you imagine being sold at a Walmart for $30.
So the AK we shot was the Palmetto State Armory. Mine has the cherry wood furniture.
Good-looking furniture.
Very good-looking furniture. It was the first time I had fired it, and my first time firing an AK pattern weapon.
Really?
Yeah.
That wasn't my first time firing an AK pattern weapon, but that was my first time firing more than 3 rounds in one sitting. Because I'd seen another guy at the range, and I was only willing to use up 3 of his rounds in his gun. I'm pretty good about either using my own ammo or only shooting very little. But that action... So we talked about it, and we'll talk about it in the full length segment, which will be uploaded after this. When you shoot it, you hear the shot, and then you can hear that heavy long stroke action moving. It's awesome.
The piston spring comes back, and it's just a big ka-shunk every time.
It's like ka-shunk, ka-shunk. Yeah, it's awesome.
It's a lot different than an AR pattern.
It was really fun.
It's the AR pattern weapons. You hear the buffer every time. It's like ka-ping, ka-ping, and it's totally different. It was a very, very unique weapon. I was very impressed.
We had a few thumb mishaps. A couple. You burned yourself on the barrel, and
it gets really hot.
Yeah. That little bit there that we're entering in as B-roll was me burning the crap out of my thumb on just the part that holds the bottom furniture on. That part even heated a whole bunch. So gloves next time.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get to shoot it this time around without the dust cover, but we have to eventually do that.
Yeah.
Get it on the podcast. It was just really fun all around. I tried to do the tactical reload and I messed it up because the magazines aren't quite broken in yet. The only one that's really broken in is the P-Mag.
This is the ones I use. I think these are Romanian. I don't know, but it did come with one polymer mag, so I think that's the one we used most.
Yeah. We talked most about the AK that we can. Getting on to our subject for the gun segment, the M&P-12.
Oh, the M&P-12.
I was not too impressed with it when I first saw it. Mostly what I paid attention to was the price point. When we watched our research, I started to gain a little bit of a better opinion on it.
So the MSRP on it is looking like it's going to be $11.65. I think that price is going to be pretty solid for a while, but I think we start to see maybe some market saturation, some units get out there. They're sitting on gun shelves. I'm thinking about $1,000 street price. So, but yeah,
which is really good for it.
So what did you think of it as compared to the KSG?
When I initially watched, I thought that, you know, it's my initial thought on Smith and Wesson's M&P series was like not cheaping out but not spending an incredible amount. Then when we watched and we talked about the quality of it, that does seem like a really reasonable price because the Kel-Tec one does look very Kel-Tec.
So yeah, the Kel-Tec one is plasticky and functional.
Aluminum.
I think most people's KSGs work really good. I've watched a lot of videos with the KSG. Yeah, so the KSG has a lot of Kel-Tec heritage. I think the M&P also has a lot of Smith and Wesson heritage.
It does look so. One of the things you can see in this bit that we're putting up, the forend has a very M&P slide serrations.
Yes, it's
bit to it.
It's got
those wavy serrations.
They're right on the cocking handle on the front, and the vertical foregrip. We found out that does come off.
Change out with M-Lock stuff.
Yeah, so
I like the things on this gun that are not proprietary and that you can very easily change out with other third-party stuff that goes along with M-Lock. It takes AR pistol grips.
Yes,
that is a really good feature.
Yeah,
I think more shotguns need that.
I think the K grip, the almost up and down one a lot of people put on their pistols and their short barrel rifles would really complement that thing.
Yeah, and then the barrel takes the standard Remington
rim chokes. Yep.
I do like all three of those things because it allows you to put different stuff on it that you don't have to buy from Smith & Wesson. My shotgun takes nothing from other companies as far as I know with my config. It does not take any chokes. It does not have a choked barrel. The stock does not take Remington or Mossberg pattern stocks. It's an Escort from Hatsan. Turkish shotgun. It's a nice gun. This Smith & Wesson M&P-12 does look good from what I've seen.
It looks very standardized. I again, like you said, the M-Lock on the front, standard AR, pistol grips. There are some negatives though. It's kind of got a goofy looking. There's a little when you flip it upside down and you're loading the
goofy little loading switches.
Yeah, there's
I think those could be done without.
Two little assist spring-loaded things when you're popping rounds in.
When we watched the James Reeves video, he talked about how when you at the start it was horrible, and when they learned it, it was okay.
But the tube selector
is
awesome.
Incredibly good compared to the KSG. I don't remember. It was an Iraq veteran, I think, that did the almost bolt slap. No, it wasn't Iraq veteran. It was like an AR bolt slap.
That was Mr. Guns and Gear. He was doing that.
Mr. Guns and Gear
He would start off with it selected into the right tube, and then when he would fire it and exhaust that tube, he would just give it a slap.
Yeah, so the selector is on the forend, the pump
Yeah.
And it only switches when it's in battery position.
And don't forget about the safety selector, AR pattern.
AR pattern safety selector.
So it's going to be really, for all of you like me that are really into AR pattern rifles, it's just going to feel like shooting a big AR shotgun.
Pump action AR.
That will hold 14 to 21 rounds depending on what you happen to throw into it. So, but yeah, pick rail on top of it so you can put your sight of flavor of choice on there too. So whatever you like.
Put your 3-foot height over bore sights on it. We need to do a comedy sketch for that.
Yeah, you can put lights and all kinds of goofy, whatever you want to put on it. So
and that forend, the vertical foregrip on the forend can make you feel really secure when racking it, but you're not going to get in front of the barrel.
But it does come off, and you could use it just.
You can just pump it with the pump. That's really cool.
I do like that.
It's made of some pretty durable steel, and that's most of the reason why it's more expensive. Looks a lot better than the KSG can hope to look.
I think that's fairly subjective because I like the look of the KSG.
I feel like to me the KSG is a good looking gun, but
the KSG
I think the M&P looks better.
The KSG does look a little bit more slim and Spartan, if you will. This thing kind of looks, it's more kind of beefy and bulky. I think it's got a lot more bulk than the KSG. Not that that's a bad thing, but it just definitely looks different. And that selector between the KSG, kind of got to turn it upside down and move the selector to the other side.
Right where the breech is too, so you're reaching in an awkward position to switch it.
And it had the M&P-12 had a really cool feature where you could pull the buttstock back, and it gives you more real estate to reach down in there and do some, manipulating if you have a failure to eject or something like that. You kind of got a lot more room to dig in down there and clear.
I think more bullpup rifles need something like that.
Yeah.
The RDB, he shot 3 rounds out of it when we did all of our segments, 5 different segments for guns. It's just checking malfunctions in RDB is probably nearly impossible.
And there's really no way to check to see if it's actually loaded.
You have to take the gun apart.
Oh, and don't forget on the M&P-12 has a loaded chamber indicator.
Yeah, that's a
loaded
really cool
chamber
feature.
Indicator. It is a really cool weapon. I'm not gonna fault it at all. Really just gonna have to see a lot of them come out in the hands of the reviewers. And
they kind of are. When TFB TV and James Reeves did the video on TFB TV, it was already available to the public, albeit he had to actually search for it and wait for them to be in stock. But when he got one, he was able to review it. He had a lot of good things to say about it. My original view on it was that it was overpriced. My current view on it is that it's pretty reasonably priced for its...
I think the MSRP is high, but I think the street price will be about $1,000 once the dust settles. Again, any new gun is going to come out and sell for its MSRP, or maybe even a little higher for a while. But once they start building up on the shelves of gun stores, the street prices are usually a little bit less than MSRP. So that's my stand on that.
I think we pretty much talked about most of what the M&P-12 has to offer. Anything else that we probably forgot about the 12?
I don't think it comes in any other color than black. I could be wrong.
I don't really mind that. I would be very happy if it came in just black and flat dark earth.
I think the KSG comes in about, I've seen it in green, I've seen it in gray, I've seen it in...
It's very typical of the M&P lineup.
Yeah. Well, so they have some desert tan pistols also.
Well, yeah, we didn't watch a TFB TV video together, but I've seen a Desert Tan M&P full size.
I have seen some, but it looks like this new shotgun is black only, so it's kind of a strike for me because, well,
Flat Dark Earth is just so good looking.
FDE is the color for a weapon, but
Yeah.
you know,
My biggest regret
It's
from
not
the
a huge
first gun. They were like, okay, so we got a two-tone Flat Dark Earth and black coming in, and we've got this DB15 here, and I was like, I'll just buy that. My biggest regret for my DB15, my Diamondback, was not waiting for that Flat Dark Earth two-tone to come in. After seeing his BCM Ultralight, which you said people. It feels like
everybody
an
thinks
airsoft
it's
gun.
an airsoft gun because it's just that light. I mean, it's
Put your Pro on and shoot at that target there.
5 pounds and change. I mean, real small change, by the way.
Hey, Eric here. You guys might be wondering where I am and why it's only me. I'm filming this at home because it's after the podcast and I didn't get a chance to shoot this bit with my dad. So there was supposed to be a bonus bit for the gun segment, but given the subject matter, which is the Alec Baldwin shooting, and the fact that it felt like it just put the runtime of the podcast a little bit too long, I'm deciding to take it out. Now, this decision may or may not be approved by the time the upload happens by my dad, the other host, but I feel like it's for the best because it felt too soon. And it just didn't feel right. We didn't have a lot of the facts. We might do it in a future episode, but we're not doing it in this one. It doesn't feel right. So, no bonus segment today. Just gives a little bit more runtime for other stuff. Anyway, enjoy the music segment. So for the music segment, in between we listen to our songs for the day. Judith, Wings for Marie, not Judith. Wings for Marie in 10,000 Days. So the song was mostly about the paralysis in the lead up to her death in 2003. When Judith was 31, Judith is Maynard's mother. When she was 31, she had an aneurysm that caused paralysis for about 20, did you say about 28 or 9 years in the video?
27 years.
27 years?
That's 10,000 days.
About 10,000 days. The inspiration for the name of 10,000 Days and this song, 10,000 Days. It's a really sad song. It's one I usually listen to when I'm down because of it mimics that in the song. When I listen to songs that I want to get me upbeat, I usually listen to Disturbed because they can have some uplifting stuff, especially in Immortalized. But
so, Wings for Marie is kind of the slow, sets the tone, kind of tells
song.
It tells a little bit of a story, and then I think when it transitions into 10,000 Days, it really tells us what happened.
Wings
in the end
Wings
of the
is about
story.
the loss of Judith, I think.
And they're really two totally different songs.
But they're
one of
also
them
part of the same song. It's weird.
Wings is almost a spoken, it's like a tale. It tells us, we feel like Maynard's talking to us. There's a little bit of instrumentation going on, kind of a little, some things kind of building, in the background. But when we hit 10,000 Days, it really starts.
The most vocal part of it.
Yeah, it starts out kind of small, and it builds, and it builds, and it builds, and towards the end, it just, it hits real hard, and it really tells Maynard's story of his mother over the years. It's really a great pair. I remember when the album came out. Every Tool fan remembers when the albums come out because they don't come out very often. we just wait and wait and wait. Yeah, I mean, I remember when 10,000 Days came out in 2006. You know, it'd been a long time since anybody had heard anything from Tool. And, you know, you were
Late
just...
90s. I think 1998 was when. 2001.
When...
Lateralus was the most previous album, the most recent, before that.
I don't remember when that came out, to be honest.
It was within the last 10 years.
But it wasn't really
before that.
It was kind of there was at least 2 remakes on there. It was just kind of I wouldn't call it an LP, but it wasn't a typical Tool release. You know, when we have several.
One of them was I think in between. If you're talking about what I think you're talking about, is a Led Zeppelin song.
Yeah, No Quarter.
Yeah, because his dad made me a mixed CD called Tool Marks, and No Quarter was in that.
But yeah, 10,000 Days and Wings for Marie is just it's a very powerful duo, and I tend to listen to 10,000 Days when I need a little bit of motivation, because the song builds and builds, and then in the end, it's just, you know, the story is told, and now he's, you know, the whole instrumentation and everything rolls in all at once, and it's just like a shouting, you know, the resolution. It's really good. I enjoy it, and I urge everybody to go listen to both of them back to back. And if you have the album, get the transition in there. It's a really good one into the other one.
Transition is the best way to experience it. The last thing you want is an ad interrupting the whole thing on YouTube. If you have Pandora Premium, you can listen to them back to back.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of very complex things going on in Maynard's mind, and I think this song shows a lot of those. It's a window into what created a lot of that.
And there's so many different songs in all 3 of his projects, his bands. There's Judith in Perfect Circle. Was part of Emotive, I believe. There is Passive, about, you know, how he couldn't really argue with her over religion when she was in her condition. Due to her condition, there was songs like Horizons from Pussifer. Potions was about drinking to forget about loss. There was a couple of others in Pussifer as well, and of course in Perfect Circle. There was so many songs in all 3 of those that were about Judith Marie Keenan. It's hard not to mention it when you talk about Tool if you're a fan.
I think a large part of his whole musical career, there was a lot of notations to her in a lot of his songs. I think probably going all the way back to Eulogy and Anima, I think that had some roots there too. So it's just he's really had a hard time with it. I think in the whole, I think there was maybe several stages. Hard time, then you know, maybe a resolution period, probably some pain. And then an acceptance, maybe, you know, so.
Yeah. It was more from 10,000 Days as well, was a lot more about her condition and, you know, what she should do if assuming that an afterlife does exist, ask God why. It was basically the end of the song. Please forgive this bold suggestion. Should you see your Maker's face tonight, look him in the eye and tell him, I never lived a life, never took a life, but surely saved one.
Yeah, and it was that reference to never lived a lie. And that was in both songs, by the way. That was in the end of That was in the transition on Wings
Well,
also.
the first one was Never Told a Lie. Well, Might Have Told a Lie, but surely
Never Lived One.
Never Lived One.
And that was mentioned in the second song too. I kind of thought that was pretty neat. So
yeah.
But yeah, give those two a listen. I mean, those are.
And there's surely plenty of examples of other sad songs in metal. Metal can have some of the sadder songs. Disturbed's "Save Our Last Goodbye" is one that almost gets me every time. We never really listened to this, so I'm just really going to mention it, but because we both know about sudden loss.
I think everybody knows about sudden loss. It's just something people have to deal with.
But just because loss is not sudden as well, doesn't mean it doesn't affect you just about as much. It affects you in a different way. I feel like towards the end of Judith's life, Maynard knew that she didn't have a lot more time, but it didn't make it any easier to deal with than if it was abrupt to him. But a lot of emotion in those songs. It's a song that I listen to when I'm down, when I want to feel uplifted and inspired. I usually listen to some of the songs from Immortalized by Disturbed because they're surprisingly inspiring songs. So I think that will wrap it up for the second episode. We talked about the new Nissan Z, and we did a little bit of talking about some other stuff in there. We went on not as many tangents as we did in the first episode. It was a lot more well structured.
Yeah, we're working on things. We're getting
some B-roll
stuff together here. So.
Some B-roll involving the AK that we shot. I'm sure you guys are gonna get to see me burning the crap out of my thumb.
And there's a lot more cool shooting to come too.
Yeah,
so.
There's some stuff we're gonna have to reshoot, the scripted stuff in those videos, but ultimately,
and we definitely want to get some more review and drives. We're gonna make that happen. So just kind of hang with us.
It's coming together. It's coming together actually a lot better than I expected it to. It's something that I can be proud of, and that I surely am proud of. But you guys out there, let us know. Like we said before, anyone in the MOV area, we've got guns pretty much locked down. But anyone that has a cool car like Camaros, or maybe an old Supra or a new Supra, or Challenger, Dodge Challenger, Charger, let us know. Kind of bring it together, because I'm sure we would love to get to drive something like that.
Yeah, we just want to get cool stuff out to everybody. So,
and that's essentially what the Car of the Day segments are. They're not, for Car of the Day segments, we don't just go to a dealership and test drive a car. There's nothing personal behind that. That's more of like a review. Like, if eventually we get to the point where Nissan's like, hey, the new GTR is coming out. Do you guys want to drive it? That's something more of like a review thing that would happen if that ever does. But there was something that didn't get mentioned on the car segment that we may eventually get press passes into SHOT Show, which would be amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we would definitely talk about that. Talk about our time. But I think that's going to wrap it up for Cars, Guns, and Guitars, talking about the Z, the M&P-12, and 10,000 Days / Wings for Marie.